Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, in the lecture number 5, I told you about the limiting reactant, how we calculate the limiting reactant and non-limiting reactant. Now, second point is how we are going to calculate theoretical and actual yield. Theoretical yield and actual yield. So, what is the theoretical yield and actual yield? Dear students, theoretical yield means when you are making the calculations by using balanced chemical equation, stoichiometric equations. So when you are going to use a balanced chemical equation and you are calculating the amount of any substance, just like I told you about the iron from the iron ore or any example, this is according to law of conservation of mass. So this amount will be exactly calculated according to the atomic masses, which we are not going to change, and mass which is provided, which we are not going to change. So exactly amount of the unknown substance can be calculated. So the amount which to be calculated from the stoichiometric equation, balanced chemical equation, is called theoretical yield. This is called theoretical yield. And when same equation, when you are going to do in the laboratory, actual, practical, so when you are going to calculate the iron from the industry by doing experiment by using chemicals, so when you calculate the amount of any substance practically, actual, this is called actual yield. So the difference is theoretical yield can be calculated by using a balanced chemical equation. The amount can be calculated. The actual or practical yield by doing experiment in the laboratory, same equation, the amount you can calculate is called actual yield. Students, theoretical yield, this question will be asked in examination. Theoretical yield is greater than that of the actual yield. Same equation, suppose I have equation here, zinc plus sulfur to form zinc sulfide. So when you are going to prepare a zinc sulfide from zinc and sulfur, suppose this is example I am giving you. So when I am going to calculate the amount of zinc sulfide from the balanced chemical equation, stoichiometric equation, so this is according to law of conservation of mass. You can't change the masses of zinc and sulfur. So this is called a theoretical yield. But when you are performing the experiment on zinc and sulfur mixing in the laboratory and you are making zinc sulfide according to the equations, so when you are performing this experiment in the laboratory and calculating the amount of zinc sulfide, so this amount when you calculate through experiment is called actual yield or practical yield. And I told you that theoretical yield is greater than that of the actual yield. What reason behind this question may be asked? So in your book, if you see in your book why the actual yield is less than that of theoretical yield. Why actual yield is less than that of theoretical yield? So 3 points are given in your book. Number 1. During the chemical reaction laboratory, maybe the side reaction taking place. During performing experiment, actually in the laboratory, maybe the side reactions taking place, another chemical reaction will be taking place. So the amount of the yield is affected. This is the number one. Maybe the reversible reaction taking place. Maybe the zinc sulfide again changed into zinc and sulfur. This is maybe happen. So maybe the reversible chemical reaction taking place, then the amount of zinc sulfide can be affected. So this is another doubt, another point to make a less amount of the product. Number third, during experiment there is some loss of the some. This is called mechanical loss. Not this according to law of conservation of mole. Because when you are performing in the laboratory, maybe some substance go out during heating, maybe some attached to the apparatus, some maybe other. So this is called a mechanical loss. So due to the mechanical loss taking place during filtration, distillation, separation, and by using separating funnel, by weighing, by crystallization. So this is called a mechanical loss. When you are doing some steps to get the amount of product, filtration, yes, there is filtration, there is the evaporation, there is the heating, by separating by funnel, by crystallization, by weighing, some amount maybe with the filter paper. So this is a mechanical loss. This is not according to law of conservation of mass. So dear students, due to these three factors, the actual yield is usually less than that of the theoretical yield. So then what do we have to do? Then we calculate percentage yield. Then we calculate percentage yield. How much percentage come when you are calculating the amount of zinc sulfide by using balanced chemical equation, or when you perform the experiment, then calculate percentage. How much percent come? How much accuracy come? How much percentage? So the percentage is, the formula for percentage is amount of actual yield divided by theoretical yield multiplied by 100. So this is called a percentage yield. So by using actual yield, theoretical yield multiplied by 100, then you can calculate the percentage yield. So that's why by using these yields you have to calculate the percentage. So there are many numericals you have. So I am going to calculate here. Calculation of theoretical yield, actual yield and percentage yield. So there is one numerical here. I am going to solve. Take out your books, calculator, pen, pencil. The chemical equation is zinc solid, copper sulfate aqueous to give zinc sulfate aqueous plus copper solid. So this is the chemical reaction which is given 1.51 in your book. 1.51 in your book. 1.9, simple problem number 1.9. So calculation of theoretical yield, actual yield and percentage yield. Here you are provided 1.274 grams of copper sulfate. 1.274 grams. 0.74 grams of copper sulfate in excess of zinc and yielding of a copper. This is the 0.392. 0.392 grams. This is your actual yield, because here we are not going to do this in the laboratory, so already it is given by the examiner. So this is the actual yield is given 0.392 grams of copper from 1.274 grams of copper sulfate excess of zinc. Excess of zinc, this is given. And this is the actual yield is given performed in the laboratory. So from the stoichiometric equation we done before, we have to calculate the theoretical yield from the balanced chemical equation. I told you in the previous lectures, numericals can be solved by using mole to mole method, mole to mass method, mass to mole method, and mass to mass method. All correct. These are all correct. So if you are going to use a simple method, I already told you in the previous lectures. So this is a mass is given copper sulfate 1.274, and you want to calculate the theoretical yield in the grams mass. So directly use mass and mass relationship. By using mass and mass, this is also correct. Very short method. This is actual yield which is given. So I want to calculate theoretical yield. Atomic masses, copper 63.5. I told you should have your calculator also to calculate 63.5 atomic mass of copper. Sulfur is 32 plus oxygen is a 64. So your answer is 159.5. 159.5 grams of 1 mole of copper sulfate, and copper is a 63.5 grams. Okay. So by using this data, by using this mass, you can calculate the mass of copper within 2 steps. But I am using mass to mass. Mass to mass ratio I am using. Mass is given and mass you want to find. Otherwise, when you use the previous method, mole method, first you calculate these moles, then you calculate mole of this one, then you have to convert these moles again into mass. But now here I am using very simple method, mass to mass. Mass is given, calculate mass. Okay. So in the stoichiometric equation, balanced chemical equation, students, 159.5 gram. This is equal to 1 mole. This is equal to 1 mole of copper sulfate. So I am writing 159.5 grams of copper sulfate give 63.5 grams of copper. This is according to stoichiometric equation, balanced chemical equation. I calculate the molar masses. Students, if you have a 1 gram, then this is the unknown, this is conversion factor. This is the unknown should be numerator and this the known should be denominator. So I want to calculate theoretical yield of copper. So that's why 63.5 divided by 159.5. And how much mass is given for the copper sulfate? 1.274 grams of copper sulfate. Yes. So it will be 63.5 divided by 159.5 multiplied by 1.274 0.74. So students, take out your calculator. Also calculate yourself. 63.5 divided by 159.5. The answer is 0.398 multiplied by 1.274. That will be 0.5072 grams. So this is a theoretical yield of copper. So dear students, this is the theoretical yield of the copper. 1.274 grams of copper sulfate. The answer comes here. Yes, this is correct. Now apply this formula. Percentage yield is equal to actual yield. I told you actual yield less than that of the theoretical yield must be, and reasons I told you which are given in your book also. So actual yield is 0.392 and theoretical yield is 0.5072 multiplied by 100. So your answer will be 0.392 divided by 0.5072. The answer is this, and multiply by 100. So answer is 77.287%. This is your answer. This is your answers, dear students. Now, so it means that when you calculate the theoretical yield according to Barron's chemical equation accurately by using their atomic masses, the answer comes 0.50272 grams. But when I mix these chemicals in the laboratory, when I went in the laboratory, the same amount 1.727 grams of copper sulfate I put in the laboratory, and I done the experiment. After doing the experiment, the actual yield comes 0.392. So this is mostly less than that of the theoretical yield. When you have a theoretical yield, when you have a actual yield, then you have to calculate percentage yield. So this is the actual yield, this is the theoretical yield, multiply by 100. So you will get 77.287. This is called a percentage yield. So I am going to give you assignment. Activity for the students. If you see the next page, activity for the students in the yellow box. In the yellow box, this is assignment. I will give you from the exercise also questions. Glucose is going to ferment to give ethanol and carbon dioxide gas. What is theoretical yield of ethanol? 10 gram of sugar is given in a particular experiment. So you have to calculate theoretical yield, actual yield, and percentage yield. This is one question from my side. And second also, also in the yellow box, when the methane is going to react with water to give carbon dioxide gas and hydrogen gas. So you have to calculate the theoretical yield, actual yield, and percentage yield. So students, you have to do this also. Two boxes are here, and also from the exercise question also there is. From the exercise question number 4. If you see your book, exercise question number 4, A part, differentiate between actual and theoretical yield, and then the numerical nitrogen and 3 moles of hydrogen to give 2 moles of ammonia. So 42 grams of hydrogens are given. So you have to calculate the percentage also. And question number 5, this is a very simple. You have to calculate only percentage of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen in the glucose. I told you method. And question number 6 also. Question number 6 also. What is the calculate theoretical yield and percentage yield? And there is a small piece of aluminum react with the HCl. How much hydrogen is liberated from this one? So you have to calculate this one. Equation I am telling you right in your book. Equation is not mentioned. So this is clear for you. I think you have to note it, and by using this procedure calculate other numericals also. So students, I am writing chemical equation for this question number 6. Question number 6, the equation is aluminum solid plus hydrochloric acid aqueous. You will get aluminum chloride, displacement chemical reaction, and liberate of the hydrogen gas. So this will be 6. This will be a 3, and this will be aluminum will be 2. So this will be a 2 here. So this is a balanced chemical equation. 2 moles of aluminum, 2 moles of aluminum here, 6 hydrogen. So 3 2s are 6 hydrogen. 2 3s are 6 chlorine and 6 chlorine. So this is a balanced chemical equation for the question number 6, which is not given here. Yes, 1.25 centimeter cube reacts with the excess of hydrochloric acid. What is the weight of hydrogen? So you have to calculate weight of hydrogen. The density of the aluminum is 2.7 grams. So you have to use the formula of density. In the previous examples, I told you about this one. You can see the previous lectures. So I calculate for the density this one. So, dear students, here we finish this. There the one, yes, I think calculated, yes. Numerical number 4, 3 I calculate, 7 I calculate. Now, students, there is a MCQs, exercises. Select the most suitable answer in the following MCQs. Open your book. Open your book and see the MCQs. I am writing the answer, and you have to calculate also yourself how it is solved. How many molecules are here in 1 mole of water? 1 mole of water. This is very simple. I told you 1 mole is always equal to Avogadro's number. So that's why the answer is a B, Avogadro's number. B answer. Okay. The answer is B for this. Number 2, a flask contains 500 centimeter cube of sulfur dioxide at SPP. The flask contains how many grams? How many grams for this? If you see actually I have the old book this. So in my old book, this old printing. So there was no answer here, none of these. But maybe in the new editions, the answer is 1.427 grams. So D option is correct. 1.4 because I corrected in my book. 1.42 grams are given, so answer D is correct, but you have to solve yourself also. Nucleus means carbon, diamond, 6 grams are diamond carbon. Number of atoms, answer D, 3.01 into 10 raised by 23, also calculate yourself. What is the mass of aluminium? 204 of aluminium oxide. So answer is 108. D option is correct. Here and the 5 reactant which consume earlier. This is called a limiting reactant. Answer number C. I am talking about 5. Answer number C. Which of the following compounds contain the highest percentage of mass? So you have to calculate at your home because you are free now. Take the calculator and write down the atomic masses from the periodic table and calculate the percentage. So you will find the percentage of B, N2H4. This is called hydrazine. Ammonia, nitric oxide or nitrogen monoxide, ammonium hydroxide and hydrazine N2H4. The answer is B, hydrazine. Okay. The vitamin A has a molecular formula C2830O. The number of vitamin molecules is equal to moles multiplied by Avogadro's number. So students, milligrams are given, 10 into grams divided by molar mass multiplied by Avogadro's number. You can calculate this. So the answer is 1.05 into 10 raised power 21. 1.05 into 10 raised power 21. Answer number B. B is correct. 21. Okay. Number 8. When 1 mole of each of the following is completely burned in oxygen, which will be the largest mass of carbon dioxide gas? Mass, you have to write these chemical equations, try to solve this, and the answer I am telling you, ethane. Ethane, formula is C2H6. Ethane, C2H6 ethane. Methane, this is a methane, this is a ethane. So answer is ethane, students. Number 9, 1 mole of ethanol and 1 mole of ethane have the equal number of molecules. Answer number D. Number of molecules, answer number D. Methane gets steam to hydrogen and carbon monoxide. What volume of hydrogen can be 300 centimeter cube? That's option number A. Option number A. I am talking about question number 10. Option number A. 11. Avogadro's constant is a number of atoms of 24 grams because 1 mole of magnesium is equal to 24 grams. Atomic mass of magnesium 24. 1 mole Avogadro's number. So answer number D for the 11. Now, number 12. How many moles of oxygen are needed to complete combustion of 2 moles of butane? But 4 H10. Butane. These are organic chemistry done in the grade 10. C and H2N plus 2. I am not going to revise this. So this is a butane. When you combust, so 13. The answer is 13. Option number D. Number 13 question. 4 moles of sulfur dioxide oxidized to sulfur trioxide. How many moles of oxygen? To write the chemical equation. 4 moles of sulfur dioxide going to be oxidized. So 4 moles of sulfur dioxide oxidized to give sulfur trioxide. This is sulfur trioxide. So 4 odd plus. So yes. 2 4s are 8 and 10. 2 4s are like this one. 4 and 8 12 and 3 4s are 12. Yes, so this is all 2 moles of oxygen. So the answer is 2 moles of oxygen. Yes, this is the answer. Number 13, 14. The relative atomic mass of chlorine is 35. What is the mass of 2 moles? So 2 moles means this will be a chlorine gas, students. We say chlorine gas. So chlorine gas, we write this one, so 2 multiply. So the answer is 142. 142 answer is correct. A. Chlorine gas, Cl2. Which of the following statement is incorrect? So incorrect is for the 15. This answer 15. None of these. No answer is there. D option is correct. Number 16. For number 16, 1 mole of propane has the answer 2.4 into 10 raised power. This is for the answer. 1 mole. The following statement is incorrect. 12 grams of carbon has contained 1 mole of carbon atom. 28 of nitrogen gas contain 1 mole of nitrogen. 1 decimal cube of 1 mole of decimal cube sodium chloride contain 1 mole of chlorine gas. There is no answer for us, none of this one. So number 17. Answer number 17. What's the mass of 1 mole of iodine molecule? Again I am saying iodine molecule is an I2. So multiply. The answer is 254. Yes, multiply. 254 answer is correct. For how many moles of oxygen? How many moles of oxygen and complete combustion? 13. This repetition here. So these are the answer for these. You have to calculate for these one, and other answers I told you. You have to go through this topic again. Whole the chapter you have to do again. All exercise questions. Do the also print the Friedel board papers from the website and see the questions come from chapter number 1 and solve them. And if you have a problem, you have to ask this one. So this first chapter is completed. Thank you very much. So next time inshallah I start chapter number 2.